That's how we do. Return to the noise is how we do. You know it's how we do.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Crown Peach Show. I'm your host, Chris, and I'm super excited to have a girl on the show. They're so far in between, but the energy is amazing. I have with me Maria C. Gonzales.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and nice to meet you. I know we've been like texting, you know what I mean, and we have mutual friends, right?
Yes.
So I want to learn all about you.
Oof.
What do you want to share
How
first?
many segments do you have?
Girl, we have all night. We might do a to be continued at the casino after this. So, yes.
Well, where do I start? Let's see. Most importantly, I wanted to share, like, I'm first generation immigrant. So I was born in Guadalajara, like a little lake called Chapala next to Guadalajara, Mexico.
Wow.
So I come from two parents that are, fully Mexican, and I had to go through the whole border thing, and I was a little girl.
So you were born in Mexico.
Yes.
When did you come to the United States?
I want to say I was probably like 4 or 5 years old.
Do you remember all that experience?
I do.
Really?
Yeah, and it's so traumatic. But we can jump into that another day.
Okay.
But yeah,
girl, over a bottle of tequila, huh?
Yes. Yeah, and so it's interesting because growing up, I never really thought about that, you know. So just recently, maybe like in the last few years, I started to really think about my roots and think about where I really came from.
I think that happens when we get older, right? As we get older, because that's what I'm going through too. Like I'm giving my DNA up to 23andMe, my fingerprint. Like, please tell me more about me.
Yeah, and I think it's important because we're told to live a life in America, right? Like the American dream. And I remember, growing up and watching my parents, like my dad, he was a farm worker, so he worked in the fields, and I remember his struggle, and I remember him saying, like, basically, we live in America, we have to be, like, basically in the shadows of America because we were immigrants, and that was really hard to understand as a child growing up, and I think definitely in the last few years, I really looked into decolonization and figuring out who my indigenous ancestors were, and just, like, moving along with all of that.
Did you find out?
I did.
Did you do the 23andMe too?
I did it a little different.
Like me.
Yeah, I did a little different.
What'd you do?
So, I did the basic at first, right? So, I did like the ancestry type thing, right? But then I just really started looking into my whole, like my grandma.
Yeah.
And just really like moving into that area of like, well, my uncles and some of my family on my dad's side, they look very indigenous. So with them is where I really wanted to see like where we were from, right? So they came from like these little tribes, like deep in Mexico, and then there's like the Chichimecas and the Mexicas, and then there's like the Aztecs, and there's all this different type of, tribes. And my mom's side, and it's very interesting because they were more colonized on the Spanish side. So, they have red rubias, they have color eyes, some of them are really light. Like my mom is very clara, So it was really interesting to learn both and then to really identify where my heart is at.
Yeah, which is where?
With my indigenous people. Really, like, I just love it. I love learning, and I love just reaching the really bottom roots of where we come from.
Yeah, it's important to know where we come from. When I was growing up, I didn't know what I was. My dad was adopted and never really wanted to talk about his life. So as a kid, I would say I was from the Sama tribe. And they would be like, the what? I'm like, some of this, some of that. Like, like I'm from the Sama tribe. But I was born in Hawaii. So whenever I tell people that, they're like, oh, she's Hawaiian. I'm like, no. My dad, was in the Army. My mom followed him down there, and got pregnant, had me. Yeah. And then they moved here, well, all over the place. But so you found out that you relate more from your heart to the indigenous side of you, which is your father's side.
Yes, I do.
That's amazing.
I think it was so important for me because when they created the whole umbrella of Latinx now today, right?
Yeah, I don't understand that very much.
Yeah, it's so deep, right? So being of the work that I do, which I'll get into later, I really wanted to identify the fact that, like, for me, I'm not Chicana and I'm not Latina. I'm Mexican because I come from parents that were born in Mexico, and I myself was born in Mexico.
Yeah.
And then I had to learn about what is an immigrant and what is an undocumented person. So I really did a lot of research And then I did a lot of, with my family, and I also did a lot within my peers around me.
Yeah.
Because the work that I do takes a lot of space to learn about your culture.
Really? So what did you learn? What is the difference between undocumented and illegal immigrant?
So right now I'm actually in the middle of working on that and how to put it out there in a very most easier way of people to understand.
Yeah.
But basically, like, an undocumented person is a person that comes in with no papers, right? They're not allowed. Like, America says you cannot be here, you don't have any papers, you don't belong here, right? But in reality, if you really take it back to the ancestors' time, this was Mexico.
Yeah.
This was our land. It was just stolen from our ancestors. So our ancestors had to like navigate and create this, open up this face and this road for us, right?
Yeah.
So now today they call it an undocumented part, right? A person that's undocumented, you don't have papers, you don't belong here. An immigrant is somebody that was brought in, but America says, okay, we have a law that we made, and you're able to come in through that law. So here's your green card. Now you're an immigrant. Now you're allowed to be here. But in reality, you're really not an immigrant. You're still an undocumented person because you don't have a citizenship.
Yeah.
So it's like so many layers to it.
Wow.
But
and why are you working so hard on that? Like, I mean, I can feel the passion because you are working on what is you.
Right. So when I was young, when I was in high school, I dealt with a lot of racial, challenges. I grew up in a little town named Guadalupe, California, which is in the central area of California.
Okay.
It's by Santa Barbara. And it's a field workers community. It's a farmland community. So we had a lot of trouble. I was always in trouble in school. I was like always in trouble because I was always...
I liked you. I was like, I was always sitting outside too. I swear they made a special desk for me outside.
I was always defending people. I was always defending myself. I remember the teachers would be like, so, what do you want to be when you grow up? Most people wanted to be a cop, a nurse, a doctor. I was like, I want to be like Dolores Huerta. And they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like an activist, no, right?
Yeah.
So things like that, have really been in me since I was younger. And I didn't even know what that was, which is advocacy, standing up for, what is
standing
right.
up for people.
And so as I got older, my voice was shut. My parents were like, no, you're not allowed to say that. No, you're not allowed to do that.
Probably even more so because you're a female.
Right, female, immigrant, we don't want to get in trouble.
Fly under the radar, don't bring attention to us, yeah.
Exactly. So once I grew up, I had 2 boys at a young age, and then I became a nurse. I was in nursing, and I still kind of felt a void in me. So I was like, wait, I'm doing all this work. Like, I love helping people, saving lives.
Yeah.
Watching, labor and delivery, ER. I've done it all, right?
Girl, so you watch Coochie all day?
I did. I watched so many different coochies, you don't even know.
We're going to talk about this later. You are definitely going to be on the other show with me, and we're going to dive right in. No pun intended, but we're going to get into that. Holy moly.
So, yeah, but I always felt that void.
Yeah.
And so then I started looking into, immigration. I don't know, my mind just wonders, and I am, the internet is right there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I'm just, Googling all this crazy stuff.
You can learn anything, find anything, see anything, yeah.
Yeah, and then, so a part of that also was connected to my crazy behavior growing up, right? So
how crazy did your behavior get? Were you ever in juvenile hall?
I am formerly incarcerated.
As a juvenile or as an adult? As an adult. Ooh, cute
yeah.
girl.
So I was a traviesa all the way.
See,
I wouldn't get caught all the way, and here comes my adulthood. It's like, boom, you're that's it.
I learned my lesson as a teen. I said, what do you mean I can't go to the fridge and get something to eat? I'm never coming back here again. I want to go home.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson in juvenile hall.
I want to go home.
I'm like, Mom, come pick me up. She was like, hell no. True story. She's like, stay there. Stayed for 3 days till they were like, you need to come get your child, ma'am, or we're going to put you in a cell next to her. So yours caught up with you as an adult. Shit.
I went through a lot. I literally lost my kids, so I had to fight for them. Yeah, so I had to go to court and get them back. Yeah, and then I was facing deportation because remember, I'm not a citizen. So yes, there was just so many things that came with that mistake, right? With finally getting caught up, right? So
it's like one thing, just like a triple effect.
I remember immigration coming to the jail to talk to me, and they were like, it's so funny because, at the time I had blonde hair. Like I'm telling you, I was like this blonde. I was just, so they look at me, they're like, "You're Maria Gonzales?" And I was like, "Wait, what? What am I supposed to look like?
Yeah.
Indian or what?" Like at the time I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So it's like, am I supposed to look like an Indian? Like what? And he's like, forget it, So he's just like going through the things, and I was like, okay, please tell me, are you gonna deport me because I don't even know how to count pesos? Like I never lived in Mexico. I don't even know.
Español. No hablo.
So he's like, forget it. Just take her. Like, I don't want to deal with her.
Wow.
Luckily, I never really hear from them. So I was like, okay,
So
cool.
you didn't get deported. Amen.
I didn't.
Thank
I
you,
did.
goodness.
Till this day, I'm still here. However...
Wait, are you supposed to be here, girl?
Yes.
Okay, I'm like,
No.
Lock the door.
No, however, they gave me my permanent residency.
Nice.
So
How did you get that?
I was able to keep it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the reason why I know now because I used to travel a lot, right? So this is like fast forward, right? So when I traveled, I had to literally get 1 day extra because in the airport they would put me in this room, and it's the Department of Justice interrogation area.
Oh, wow.
Because they had to get me cleared from the Department of Justice that it's okay that I was still okay and
To travel.
To travel and be here.
Wow.
So it's just like a whole process, and it really affects your life. Like it really affects everything you do in life as an immigrant. So those are the things that I went through. So in 2014, I reopened my case. I filed for an expungement, and I was granted by the judge an expungement. But in the federal part, it's still there. So in order for me to take it out, I would have to go open this whole process that I'm just
to get
not
it
ready
completely
for.
expunged.
Yeah.
But when would it come out? I mean, if you wanted to be like a police officer or an FBI agent, that's when it would come out?
Yeah.
There's no way, right?
Yeah, there's no way. Not that I would have.
Yeah, totally. I know. Because I was told from going to juvenile hall, group homes, foster home, I was told, we're going to erase, your juvenile record.
Still your record.
But then I go apply to work at the school district, and I'm thinking, I got this job in the bag, you know what I mean? I know so-and-so, I know everybody, and I know all the teachers, they're going to love me there. I get pulled into an office, and, this older white gentleman made me feel really shitty about something I did when I was 14 years old, and I didn't put it on the application. And he's like, "You're trying to lie to me," and I'm like, "No, I was told it was expunged." So when would yours come up? If
it will. So here's the thing with that. As a juvenile, you should have had it sealed, right?
Yeah, that's what I was told. It was sealed.
It was sealed, and then for me, there's an expungement, right? However, when you do apply for a job, it still comes up. But
no matter how long ago it was.
No matter, but when it comes up, it just says expunged.
But does it say what you
granted by
did?
the president or whatever.
Does it say what you did?
No.
So it just leaves the employers to wonder.
Yeah. So it's
is she a weed dealer or is she Dexter? You gotta wonder.
So true.
Right?
Yes.
She gonna get high or she gonna kill somebody on the job?
Yes. And nowadays, there's been so much reform already that they called it check the box. It's like the box where it says, have you ever been convicted for a felony? They should no longer have that in the applications because there was a law that passed that, that helped.
I wonder if there's a grace period. If it was, I think I've seen one application have you committed a crime or been charged with a crime in the last 10 years?
So here's the catch with that, right? So they can't ask you no more. They don't have to, have to check that. They can't ask you no more.
Yeah.
But if they say, okay, she qualifies, now run her background. So when they check the background, that's where it gets tricky because then it leaves it up to them whether they're going to hire you or not. So either way, it's still
kind of asking.
Yeah, there's still cracks to it. So
wow.
Yeah. So see, getting into those kind of talks
I love it though. So you went because we're going to get to what you do today, but so far, you went from being a teen mom.
Yes.
You were an illegal immigrant.
Yes.
Do you have any siblings?
I do.
Were any of them born in the United States?
Yes. Yeah. Some of them.
Some of them.
There's
4
of us.
Okay. So, how many were born in Mexico?
3.
3 of you guys.
Well, 2 and me. Yeah, 3.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So how was that growing up? With some that were born here?
That's crazy because like my siblings, they're great, you know, and I think they learn from me because I'm the oldest.
Oh, okay.
So I'm the one that got in trouble. I'm the one that snuck out of the house. I'm the one that was just doing all the crazy stuff.
You're like, listen, don't do what I did, but if you do, jump out of that window.
Yeah. So no, then my sister would be my accomplice, right? Because I'd be like, don't lock the window. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Until one day I came in the door, the window was locked, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm in trouble.
Did she lock it on you?
My dad did.
Oh, shit. He was checking the house, locking all the doors.
No, he knew I was gone.
He knew
so
you were
he's
gone?
Like, I'm
he's like,
looking.
stay out there. Get ES, right?
Yeah. So we went through a lot, but I think for them, I'm really glad that they learned and they didn't do what I did. You know,
yeah. So that's the pressure of being the oldest. I'm the only child, so I don't give a fuck what anybody does in this room, but that's pressure, like, you know, being the oldest. My oldest has done everything a parent doesn't want their child to do. So then my other boys, her little brothers, haven't, I mean, they're like straight edge, like just, you know, we're not going to do that. Mom's going to get us. So you have 2 boys.
I have 2 boys.
How old are they?
25 and 20.
Wow, 20. And we talked a little bit off camera about them still being kind of at home with you, right?
Yes, they're kind of home with me. My 20-year-old just had a baby, so I'm a grandma now.
Welcome to the Nana Club. I'm a grandma too. Yes, welcome to the Nana Club.
So that's very interesting. That whole life is so interesting. But yeah, like they're still at home. I'm trying to figure out
how to get them out. We're going to talk about this after the show and come up with a strategy how to get our 20-something-year-old kids out of the house. I love you, mijo, but
yes.
Gotta go.
And here's the thing, though, right? Because there's a way of like moving out, survival status or actual living, right? So for me, I've learned that I have always been on survival living. So I've always been on survival mode until probably 4 years ago.
What changed 4 years ago?
My whole life. So I decided that I can no longer, you know, do certain things or like, you know, not that I was doing anything crazy, but the trauma that you get from growing up on survival, it sticks with you. Yeah. So it's like you have to really take that out of your mindset, you know, because it was like, okay, I don't have to get scared no more if the window's open, right? Things like that. Like you would still be like on that survival mode. Yeah. You know, but then when you realize like, hey, wait a minute, I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. You know, it changed the mindset. So I was literally on survival mode my whole life, you know, up until like 4 years ago. And for them, I really want them to know that you're not leaving the house because I'm kicking you out and now you have to learn to survive. You're leaving the house because you're old enough to start living your own life. You know, so that's where I'm stuck.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard being a mother of boys because, you know, they're mama's boys and, you know, I love my boys too, but I'm like, mijo, like, gotta go, baby. I love you. I'll bring you food over. I'll even let you use my washer and dryer, but
I'll pay half of your rent.
No, I told my son, I was like, mijo, look, I'm not finding the house I want, so how about I buy you and your friends a condo? You guys live there, pay it down. He looked at me like I was crazy, girl. He was just like, yeah, good idea, Mom. But when you buy a house, I want you to make sure the backyard's really big. And I'm like, I just offered you a condo, baby. And he's like, no, I'm gonna build a casita in the back of your backyard. And I'm like, this boy's never leaving. He ain't never leaving. My cooking's good, but it's not that good. You know what I mean? Like, damn. But no, I love him being with me. He's great. He's super helpful. Super helpful guy. So, teen mom, immigrant, and then you go and get a job just looking at coochie all damn day. How did that happen? How did you go from...
It's funny because, like I said, I had a very destructive life, you know, from the teens all the way to my 20s. And baby daddy at the time, right? So I'm trying to work things out with baby daddy. And I just want to stay home. I don't want to work. I don't want to go to school. Mind you, I was only like, 18 years old. So I was like, and I already had my son, right? So I was like, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to work. I don't want to do nothing. I just want to be home.
Yeah, I just want to be with the baby.
Yeah, that's it, you know. So he was getting the pressure of, man, I gotta pay all the bills, right? So one day he shows up to the house and he's like, hey, like, that's it, man. Like, either you get a job, you go to school or something. Yeah. But you can't do this anymore, right? So then I ended up standing up and I was like, what do you mean I gotta go to school? I gotta do this, right? So the TV's on and the TV's behind him and I was like, I'm gonna go to school. And he starts laughing. He's like, you're not gonna go to school. You dropped out of high school. Like, yeah, really? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to school. So he's like, what are you gonna do? And there was a commercial of a medical college for medical assistant. I had no idea what that was.
Yeah.
I was like,
MA.
and I was just like, I'm gonna go to school, become a medical assistant. And he's like, what's that?
You just seen it and threw it out there?
I read it off the TV, the commercial. I read it off the commercial.
I was like, she's gonna say there's porn on, and she was like, I'm gonna go be a doctor to that. So medical assistant, you just threw it out there because he was questioning you and pressuring you.
Yeah, the TV was on. There was a commercial. I threw it out there. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. There's no way I knew what medical assistant was, right? So the next morning comes, and he's like, all right, let's go. And I was like, where are we going? He's like, to the college. Aren't you going to sign up? And I'm like, oh, shit.
He called your bluff.
He called my bluff. So I was like, shit, they're not going to pick me. Like, come on. I don't even know, like, you know, I'm bad at math, whatever.
And you hadn't finished high school?
No.
Wow.
But you got to remember, back then, you didn't need your high school diploma. You didn't need nothing. You just go and apply, right?
Yeah.
So we went, and I told the lady, well, I don't have a high school diploma. And she's like, oh, that's okay. You could just take a test, and if you overscore the test, we'll take you in. I'm like,
damn.
I'm not gonna pass it. I overscored the test.
Oh shit.
So I got stuck with the school. But you know what? It was the best thing that could have happened because I learned so much, and then that's how I started my medical career.
Nice.
After that, I jumped to all these different, titles in the medical field.
You just kept climbing.
I kept climbing. I got in trouble, went to jail, almost lost my...
While you were in school?
No, this was already working in the medical field. So that's the reason why I could not become a licensed registered nurse in California.
Because you went to jail.
Because fast forward to when that happened, they had already implemented the laws of you need to not have a criminal record, etc. So that's what really blocked me from becoming a state licensed registered nurse.
But do you think if that wouldn't have blocked you and you would have went that path, you think that we'd be here today getting ready to talk about what you do right now?
No. I think I would have settled there. That's why I went to go get my record expunged. And then I continued the medical field, but I just, I don't think I would be here doing what I'm doing today.
It's like crazy how things happen at the time. You're like, this is horrible. But then it turns into like a blessing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I had no idea that today I can say I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an actress, I run a nonprofit. Like, this is a total different world.
Yes. Winning, right?
Yes.
So, since you said it, I didn't say it, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk to Maria about what she's doing right now.
Yes.
Give us a second.
You know what I mean? It's real deep, and I only want to share with y'all like a bird of a bed for y'all.
And we're back, everybody. I'm Chris, your host, and this is Maria C. Gonzales. And now we're going to get into what you're doing today, what you're doing right now, besides being here with me.
I'm doing a lot.
Right?
Yeah, so one of the things I forgot to mention is like my acting and modeling career started when I was like 15 years old, right before I got pregnant with my son. So that's where it initially started. Right?
How did that start? How did you get into acting and modeling?
There was a class in high school for fashion, and I had to do a modeling fashion show for prom dresses.
Ooh.
So that's how I initially started. And then I started taking acting classes, improv, and modeling stuff. I went to, I believe it was like John Casablanca at the time.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that place. Okay.
So I graduated from there.
I was too short. They didn't take me.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what happened to me.
Really?
Well, I went through the whole thing, right? So I went through the whole acting, modeling, runway. I did like a presentation, like a show. I remember it was J-Lo's first song at the time. What's it called? If You Had My Love or something like that. Yeah, so I did like a whole choreography on that. It was fun. It was great.
Yeah.
My main thing was I wanted to do runway. So when I went to go audition for runway, they were like, no, you're too short. And I'm like, wait, how am I too short? Because I'm tall.
You didn't tell me that like 5-10 classes ago, $3,000 ago, right?
Exactly.
Tell me that shit when I first got here. You're too little.
Exactly.
But thanks for trying. Yeah.
They're like, oh no, but you can do novelas. Oh no, but you can do this. And I was like, no, whatever.
Hey, I love novelas though.
Yeah, and one thing back then, it was really hard to get gigs because I had like one tattoo, right? And that just would kill it for everyone. Like they just really were so strict on the image, the weight, the height, everything.
They didn't have the makeup back then they have now.
Nothing. So it was really hard. But then I got pregnant and I was with my son, and I was off and on with my modeling and acting, off and on.
Yeah.
You know, after they told me I couldn't do a runway, I'm like, you know, so I put it in the back burner, you know, but I would do things here and there.
What's the first acting thing that you did?
Oh gosh, it was a movie in Arizona called, it was a low budget movie called Doggy Dog or something. So it was a Western movie. And I was dressed in like these little, you know, like little dresses back in the day?
Yeah.
Like Western dresses. And I was...
Were you in the saloon, girl, with the double doors?
Yes. It was a saloon. And then the main guy had this dream that he was rich, right? And he was in a tub with two girls throwing money. And that's what I was doing.
I was like last night.
I was in some guy's dream.
A guy throwing money at me just in my tub. So you were one of the dream girls.
Yeah, one of the dream girls. And then I did a movie with Brandon Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley. What is that called? Bedazzle or something.
Okay, yeah.
So I was in background with that. I was a maid.
I'm gonna go look for you.
Yeah, like when he was a drug lord.
Okay.
That part. And then what else? I mean, I did so many stuff here and there, you know.
What was your favorite job to do?
My favorite.
Your favorite gig, yeah.
I don't know. I really enjoyed all of them, actually. Yeah, I really did. That was fun, and I also did hosting for some magazine back in 2005 when MySpace came out.
Yes,
so there's just all this. Yeah,
I think I still have a MySpace.
I went back tried to see if I had one, but I can't.
A lot of people. I've talked to some people. They're like, "Yeah, we went back, tried to open it, and it's like gone, or you can't find it."
It's gone. So there's a lot of content there. Lowriding, you know, all this stuff.
Did you ever do Lowrider magazine?
No, not Lowrider magazine.
Me neither. But I did Street Low, the knockoff version. I did. That's a true story, you guys. What fucking laughing for? I was in Street Low magazine. I
did a Street Low car show in Bakersfield. I think it was like 2000. And it's so hard to get content back because back then there was no internet. There was no like cell phones. You know, whatever you got it from them.
Yeah.
And, like, how do you go back?
And now you just hope people believe you that you were in it.
Exactly.
Like right now, I told you guys on the Street Low. Like, I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm working on it. So. Yeah, you're right. Now it's like everywhere. But I'm grateful that when we were growing up, there was no like, you know.
I know. Because
TikTok,
now whatever goes in the net.
Like, that didn't happen.
Yes, it did.
Girl,
Hashtag she said.
Girl, you got a kid, girl. It did happen. That's ultimate proof, right?
I know.
Oh my gosh. So what are you working on right now?
So right now I'm working on, I started a nonprofit, right? So I'm in the criminal justice reform. What we do is we help people that are incarcerated. We help them with either policy, which is like creating laws that will help benefit them to either have a more humane rights type of deal inside the prisons.
That's important.
Or also the process of coming home, re-entry support, and also reunifying with families. So we also help the families that are impacted by incarceration. So that's one of the fields that I do. And then another field is helping with what's called participatory defense. So what this is a lot of people that go to court don't have the support of understanding the due process of court. So it's like, here's your charge, we're going to court, but who cares that you don't know anything? Like, I'm just telling you how to do it.
Just sign here.
Yeah, and the public defenders are just so overcrowded that they don't really take the time, or they would take the time if they had the time.
If they had the time.
Yeah, so what we do is we step in as community, and what we do is called participatory defense, in other words, court support. So say that you have a case, right? Like, hey, Maria, I got this case.
Don't jinx me, girl. Don't jinx me. The night is young.
We're supposed to go somewhere, And, you're like, I need help. You know, like, how do I do this? So basically, I go to court with you. I coordinate with the public defender. And I'm like, what is it that you need to create her case to be stronger? First-time offender. We need letters of support. Is there programs that she can take that we can present to the judge as diversion or intervention or whatnot. So right now I can probably say on TV that I have about maybe 13 cases. They're all young people, which is like under 25 years old. And we had 2 that are dismissed, One of them is about to be dismissed, and that young person is also undocumented, which means that it's gonna help him not get deported. So yeah, like that's what we do as court support in the courthouses.
What is your foundation called?
My nonprofit is called
Nonprofit.
Pride in Truth.
I love that name. I knew, but I just wanted to ask her.
And the reason why I named it Pride in Truth is because I think a lot of us in society are afraid to speak up for our truth. We're afraid to speak our truth. We're embarrassed of our truth. And I think it's important to speak up because there's always somebody watching, somebody that's been in your shoes. And it's important to voice that so that they know they're not alone. And also, like, your struggles. That's what made you who you are, you know? So that's why I named it Pride and Truth.
I love that name. And how long have you been doing that?
So the work, I've been doing it since 2000 and, well, it's been a while, right? But me personally, like, really invested into it 100% is 2017, 2018.
Wow.
And then independently now, like on my own, debranched for, you know, in my own organization, it was 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
beautiful, because even if you change just one life, that's one life that can go on to change 100 and then 1,000.
Correct.
That's beautiful.
I always remember the lady that helped me when I was, you know, when I was released. You see, I thought the hardest part of incarceration was actually being incarcerated, but that's not it. The hardest part is getting on your feet when you come home. Statistically, there's about over 70,000 barriers that you have to overcome to actually get on your feet.
Wow.
Right?
To get back into society.
To actually make it. Whether to get a job, a house.
Was your job
kids.
waiting for you when you got out?
No. Oh. No. I was very lucky. This lady, Joanne, I'll never forget her, and God bless her because she believed in me. And she was like, and I was still on house arrest. So I wasn't out free. They were like, nope, you're going to go free, but you're going to be on house arrest.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? How am I
going to
wear
this
job?
really big, pretty, shiny anklet?
Little diamond thing, right? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, and on top of that, they would have to go check on you at work.
Oh my God.
And you know, society, they see a cop or a sheriff. Oh my God, what happened?
Yeah,
you know? And it's so embarrassing.
Getting all the
right?
Karens trying to check it out.
It's so embarrassing, but this lady gave me an opportunity.
So she gave you a job. She trusted you.
Yeah, I was
you
on
and your
house
anklet.
arrest, and my anklet, and the sheriff's checking on me.
Oh
It
my
was just
gosh.
crazy. But she believed in me, so that really gave me that opportunity.
Did you ever
So
find
now-
out why she believed in you? Like,
No.
what in her past made
I know
her
that-
take a chance on you?
I know that she's a Christian lady. I don't know, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what made her, like, believe in me to give me that
I
opportunity.
have a feeling you're going to make that phone call tomorrow and be like, hey,
I know, I'm like,
why
hey,
didn't you give me
Joanne,
a
like,
chance?
yeah, like, what's up?
Yeah, because I feel like what you're doing now, your life is full circle. You know,
It
You've
is.
been through this and you've been through that, and now you're full circle helping
It
people.
is. I think, when was it? In 2019, I went back to where I did my time, went inside, sat in that same, yes,
You
sat
sat in
in
that?
the same inside with sheriffs around us. And about 30 people in front of me that are during time incarcerated with the same clothes that I wore when I
Wow.
was in that same room.
Did you recognize anybody? Like, bitch, you're still here?
No, no.
You came back
So
again?
when I turned around and told them, like, I was in those shoes, those socks, those underwear. I did my eyebrows with those underwear threads. Like, you're not alone. Look where I am today.
Yeah.
You know, so that was my first circle, my full circle. That's when I was like, okay, this is where I belong. And this is why I went through what I went through, to understand other people on how I can help them.
Yeah, and to help them. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool.
So we met each other through the movie Sam's Cry.
Yes.
Tell me about your part in Sam's Cry. I pretty much know, and I think our audience will know too, once they look up Sam's Cry, why you were a part of it. It obviously spoke to you.
Yes.
Spoke to you from your past and to your present and future.
Yes. I'm a big believer, you know, so I have a huge belief in God, in the universe, of that everything that happens in our lives is no coincidence. So I initially got awarded at LAMPA Awards, which is the Latin American Motion Picture Awards. And I was told that I was going to go talk about the work that I do, blah, 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 right? But then they actually brought up my old career, which was like an actress, you know, all those stuff. They just brought everything out. And I was like, whoa. I forgot about that. Like I forgot that I am an actress, right? So that led me to like really start looking deep into me. Like, okay, you got this profession. Like, how are you gonna pursue it again? Like, you can actually help people.
Yeah, to bring the two together.
Yes. So one day I'm at a concert and my friend introduces me to the producer, right, which is Angel Ray.
Angel Ray, yeah.
For Sam's Cry, and he's like, oh yeah, you know, and just leaves us there. And I'm like,
play nice.
Okay.
Make friends.
Hey, like, how are you? You know, so we're talking, and it turned out that she needed. She was telling me about the movie, and it turned out that she needed a space, a facility to film the last production, right? And I was like, well, what kind of facility? She goes, well, it's for a juvenile hall. I said, well, guess what? Like my office, where I have an office, it used to be a youth courthouse.
Wow.
So where we have a youth center now. It used to be a juvenile courthouse in South Central. So you still have the cells there, the solitary confinement, the courthouses are still there.
So everything she needed
was there.
And it was bundled in this cute package right here. Like, here you go, be friends.
Everything. And I'm like,
that's the universe bringing together. That's God. That's God. You know, moving.
Yes,
you guys.
that's like moving. And
wow. What concert was it?
It was in Adelanto, I believe. What was it? Something.
Was it a throwback or like a freestyle?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I can't think of the name that they actually had for that name concert, but it's through Nationwide Presents.
Got it.
Yeah. So
out of all those people, like, what are the chances that you two?
There was like thousands of people
Yeah.
there, you know, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll get back to you, you know. So we ended up connecting, and she came, saw the space, and she's like, oh my God, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's a community space, so we don't charge much for you to come and do what you need to do. As a matter of fact, the back area still had the barbed wire where the bus would come in and bring the guys that were incarcerated inside. So everything was still intact.
The same.
And we were about to remove that. So the guy that facilitates with the building, he was like, I'll just wait till you're done, Maria, and then I'll remove it. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah, that worked out great. That's exactly what she was looking for.
Perfect. Everything worked out perfect. And then she needed an actress. She's like, Maria, like, I know you act, like, I know you want to get back in. This is your perfect opportunity. She's just talking to me, and I'm like, I haven't done this in like 13 years, you know? So I was like, okay, fine, let me figure it out, you know? So yeah, she gave me an opportunity. Ironically, I was a cop.
You played a cop?
So I played administration. So it's weird to me because here I am fighting against police brutality, fighting against, you know, the dehumanizing things that you know, people, the CDCR does for people that are incarcerated, you know, and then here I am.
Playing a police officer in this movie.
Yeah, and it was kind of
what was that like for you?
It was, at first I was like, no, I can't do this because I'm so anti-law, right? So I believe in community. So I believe that, you know, the community has its own power source to be able to figure things out, right? But playing that part really gave me an opportunity to show the reality of being a cop. Because you can say, oh, that guy, you know, or that guard is like this and like that, but when it comes down to it and they investigate him, that's not what they see. They see what he's gonna, or her, is gonna put out there, right? So I was able to give that place, like, no, this is really how they are, you know, and you can't say no because I know, and I can play it right.
Being on both sides of everything.
Being on both sides, yeah. So when I played it, it was like, okay, like, I'm doing it to show awareness, right? Because I was being mean to an inmate, you know, so it really gave me that perspective of like being able to show what they really do, you know. So it was cool. I enjoyed it. I was more nervous about re-entering back into acting. But my team and everyone,
great cast. Great cast of people.
Great cast, humble, supportive, don't worry, do a little improv if you have to.
Super supportive. That supportive. Whole cast. I've had the pleasure of meeting quite a few of them, and they're so supportive and team players, and like, oh, you can't figure it out, let's help you. There's very, you know, helping.
Yes, and one of the things that I love is, so a little background about Sam's Cry is based on a true story. It's about this young guy that went to a juvenile hall, he did a youth authority term. So he comes home, he's now of age, and he needs a job. He needs to get on his feet. He needs to move forward with life. But the trauma that he faced during all of those years that he did caused to have PTSD, which is a mental health, problem that a lot of people do gain. And I can actually speak freely that I gain PTSD. I also have, things like phases in my life.
You don't realize, I don't think you realize you have it until you feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can't bring me around Halloween and you can't bring me around 4th of July. Those two holidays are really hard for me.
Is it because something traumatic happened on those dates to you?
No, I think it's just the fact of the violence that can be done undercoverly, or like, I don't know, like just the fireworks. And like it's just, the PTSD can be triggered in so many different ways. Yeah. And so it can be triggered in depression, it can be triggered in paranoia, and it can be triggered in like past traumatic stress.
And you think that you're over something, and then something happens, and you can literally re-feel what you felt in that moment. I know, because, and I'm going to tell you guys now, I suffer from it too, and I just found out, like, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks ago, someone was sharing something with me, and it took me back to a moment in time, and I started crying, and I started shaking, and the person that was talking to me was like, I'm so sorry, and I'm like, no, obviously I have some residuals from that.
Right.
And I didn't realize it, and then certain things, like, if I'm in my car and I see a certain something, whatever, I think I have a video of it, actually. I'll probably share online, but I'm making it like a TikTok video, and then there's something in my area that triggers a moment, and you literally see my whole face change. All my energy is just out, my face changes, and that moment and the most recent moment, I realized, like, crap, I have some residual stuff, and no matter how fine I look, like, there's a little bit of PTSD in there from past, things that are still with me.
It's for everyone, like, it's a trauma that you go through, right? So for him, it was really hard. And I believe he ended up back incarcerated, but this time they put him like in a mental institution. And unfortunately, because of the treatment and what they did to him, the officers, or the staff, I should say, he passed away. They basically, under their care, and he passed away. So,
and this is a true story. I beg of you all to research it, look up Sam's Cry, and just do some digging. I had to do a lot of digging to find the real,
because because there was protest, there was advocacy, mom was fighting for justice, and eventually they came to some term that I guess they can't really talk about, disclosure, because of all this red tape around it. But if you really look for it, you will find it.
You will. Yeah, you gotta do some digging. You will find it for sure.
And so I really took my heart to it because of the work that I do. It all aligns together.
Like it spoke to you.
It spoke to me. Now I'm working with them in partnership and doing some other things, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see this movie come out and bring awareness of what mental health really is.
Because it's not the first time something like that's happened.
No.
And unfortunately, I don't feel like it's the last time it's going to happen. But now it's going to bring more and more awareness to what is happening, to our family that are being incarcerated, whether in a mental hospital or in a jail.
And if you think about it, like I was telling Angel Ray and Vanessa, right, that right now, as we speak, the Board of Supervisors in LA County have an item on their agenda that they want to make a new jail, basically call it a mental health institution. But for us, it's like, no, that's just another jail where you want to transfer people that supposedly have mental problems, right? So we're actually advocating to stop that right now. We did before, right before the pandemic, we were able to stop them from building what was called the MacArthur Project, which was basically another jail they wanted to build in LA County. And all of that connects with this movie because it's really bringing the awareness on mental health and also the injustices that happen in the system.
Wow. So, congratulations, first of all, for getting back into what looks like to me that you love. acting. Yeah, and I think that the fact that you are an activist and then you play a cop is going to show your range. Now, are you working with Angel Ray on anything else coming up?
There is.
Well, then tell me that you got my tree part. Did you get my tree part? Did you hear about that? I asked Angel.
Oh, yes, I heard about it.
I asked Angel right on camera with the whole world watching, I want to be a tree, I said to her. So.
Oh, did she talk about it?
What? I meet with her
project?
on Wednesday. Yeah, I meet with her on Wednesday to talk about my branches.
Okay.
But,
so, yeah, I'm going to be working with you then.
Yay!
Yes. I'm going to.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'm the one with the big ice.
Okay.
So.
That's exciting. Okay,
Yes.
so what is it's called again? What it is.
What it is.
What it is.
What it is. And
I love
basically,
it.
yeah, I'm excited for that project. I'm
Good.
looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the growth of my career.
And Angel Ray, like she's got so much energy and so many ideas.
Yes,
and such good energy. I love her vibe.
Her vibe and Vanessa too. Like them too in my life right now is just like wow.
Meant to be.
I'm so blessed. Yes, and one of the things that I love about them is that they're just so open. It's like no, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, and we're actually thinking about how can we all come together, right? And provide re-entry support for people that are coming home on how we can train them about production, screenwriting, special effects, and get them to start getting jobs in the film industry.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea.
That's another project we're working on.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit because I don't know if you know this, but my daughter is away at year-round camp. She's been there quite a few times, but she's actually on the path to mending her life, and she's in a halfway house in Bakersfield.
Oh, nice.
And I'm really open about that because it's like that is my truth. You know, my daughter has been in and out of jail her whole juvenile life and her adult life, and she's got 2 babies that are currently my babies. I'm taking care of them, full-time nana, so I don't get to send them home.
Right.
Do you get to send your grandkid home?
Not right now.
Not yet?
No, not yet. No, not right now.
I heard it's way funner that way when you're a grandparent. You get to be like, okay, get your kid, go.
I did, you know, but right now she's been at my house for a few days, so yeah.
How old is she?
She's only a year and a half.
Oh,
she's a little baby.
Yeah, just wait till she turns 12, like mine.
Gosh.
Girl. Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you're, well, not funny, but that you're talking about your daughter because Pride and Truth is working on a project right now called Mariposa Project, and basically helping moms and dads too, because dads can have that problem too. Reunifying them with their children through custody.
Yeah.
So going with them to the courthouse, helping them apply for everything that they need, walking the process with them as they need to get on their feet so that they can reunify with their children.
Yeah, and California, state of California, being on both, like all sides of it, is really big on reunification.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, because I'll share this with you really quick. I tried adopting my grandkids. And I mean, I was right there. Like, people that know me in my personal life, they know, like, I signed all the papers, stamp it, I'm a fingerprint on it, like, they're going to be mine. I'll share them with mom,
right?
As long as she's clean and sober, but they're going to be adopted to me. And because of programs like yours, which I'm not knocking at all, she was able to fight that from inside jail and stop that from happening.
Yeah, because they still have parental rights.
Yes. Even though I was fighting it from this end, like I've had the kids, if you accumulate all the time I've had the kids, I've had them more than she has. Like I was really fighting it. And it took me a week, and my best friend knows because he's seen the whole thing, but it took me a week to be okay with it. Do you know what I mean? I dodged her phone calls, so I was very upset. I was mad that what I had been working on for 2 years, and even longer if we really, talk about it, she was able to stop from jail, and I didn't even think about, oh my God, what program is helping her? It's probably you, girl. No, I'm just kidding.
Not yet.
No, but I wasn't thinking about that. But I was thinking like, I'm thinking like, I know what's best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, obviously God knew what's best because with minimal resources, she was able to stop the adoption from prison, and it took me a week to finally be like, you know what, my hat goes off to her. She is a mom fighting for her children.
Yeah, and then there's a reason why. Because I know other cases where like their kids are gone, adopted, gone. Like no chance,
like that quick, right?
That quick. So it just really depends on honestly, like, I live it in faith. Like, you never know what it is that those children are going to teach your daughter. You see, because it all goes back to her, like her inner child. And that's what I had to learn about me. I had to learn about my inner child. Like, where did I go wrong and why is she, you know, I had to learn so much of that. So I'm pretty sure your daughter's going to go through that.
Oh, yeah, every day is a learning thing. Every day, yeah. She's like, Mom, why don't you talk to me? I said, because I was mad at you and I knew I was not in the right mind to talk to you because I was just thinking about myself and how it made me feel. You know, that I've been doing all this, and now I'm just going to be their legal guardian until you come back. So I'm a glorified babysitter. So my mind was there. I was so angry. And it just took me a week to just stop and think, you know what? Damn, this girl has fought for her kids every single time she's lost them. She's literally jumped through burning rings of fire. She became a firefighter in Malibu on one of her vacations, you know, to get back to her kids. Like, she's lost them, you know, more times than we can count, but she's always made her way back to them. So it took me a week to be like, girl, I respect you. You got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and eventually she will have to mend her relationship with her children. It's a generational thing.
It is, for sure.
Yeah, and that had to happen to me. And honestly, I didn't start healing my relationship with my oldest son. My oldest son just got out too. He just did a little quick term.
A little vacation?
In there for like 9 months. And
oh, jeez.
When and in those 9 months is where I really realized, like, we need to heal in order to be able to talk, in order to be able to understand each other. And that's where the healing started. And now that he's home, it's like, okay, look, you're an adult. You know what's right and wrong. You know, I'm here for you and I'll support you. And we got to heal our relationship. But ultimately, you're the one that something's got to click.
Oh, it has to be up to them. It has to be them for sure. And there's only, this is the way I think about it, is that you can only blame your parents so much. Sorry, you turn 18, like, you know what I mean? You got to make your own decisions now.
Hey, I had to call my mom and be like, I'm so sorry. This was all me.
Like, own your shit.
Own it. Own it. And understand that your kids are going to do it to you too, so be good.
Oh, yeah, what goes around comes around, you know? I didn't give, you know, my daughter is not like me, but my granddaughter, she's like me, for sure. Well, where can people find you and follow you and see all the cool things and inspirational things that you're doing?
Of course, everywhere, all social media platforms.
At the
Pride
casino
and Truth.
later.
At the casino. I don't even like to gamble.
It's okay.
I just like to go and listen to the music and like just
have a drink, right? I miss the old days where it was like change that fell out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That was fun. When I was a kid and had to sit against the wall and not play. So what's your Instagram?
So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, website, Pride and Truth, or you can go to Maria C. Gonzales. You'll find me there.
Thank you so much for being here with me.
No, thank you.
And I am excited to work with you.
Yes.
Even if I am just a tree on the stage. Girl, you better shake my hand when you walk by. Give each other 5.
I'm excited to do this musical.
It's an Angel Ray musical coming, I don't know when, but we're going to start working on it soon. And it's called What It Is. So we'll keep you guys posted so you can show up and watch both of us. She'll probably be the lead and I'll be the tree, but it's all good because I'm going to be up there anyways. Thank you for being here with me again.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for being here with me on YouTube or on Roku, on Urban Soul TV, Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. And if you email me or message me, please keep it simple, kiss it. Keep it simple, sexy. Mwah. That's a wrap.
That's how we do. Return to the noise is how we do. You know it's how we do. Here goes, kick off your shoes, relax your feet. Keep your iceberg, step down, bring the heat. Classes in session, everybody take a seat. You got a problem at the class, in the street, everywhere I